What if I told you that one man went from being laughed at by the world to building a fortune so large that experts believe he could become the first trillionaire in history? Today, Elon Musk is one of the most powerful entrepreneurs on Earth. But his story did not begin with wealth, fame, or success. Long before Tesla, SpaceX, and billions of dollars, there was simply a kid obsessed with the future. While most children spent their free time playing games, Elon spent countless hours imagining technologies that did not yet exist. At just 12 years old, he taught himself computer programming, a skill that would quietly change his life forever. Soon, he created a simple video game called Blastar and sold it for money. The amount was small, but the lesson was priceless. For the first time, Elon realized that ideas could become reality, but becoming successful would require something much bigger than talent. It would require leaving behind comfort, certainty, and everything familiar for a dream nobody else could see. At 17, Elon Musk made a decision that terrified most people. He would leave his home country behind and chase opportunities across the world. He arrived in North America with big dreams. But dreams alone would not pay the bills. While others searched for comfort, Elon searched for opportunity. Every challenge he faced strengthened a belief that would guide the rest of his life. If the future didn't exist yet, he would help build it himself. Soon, Elon and his brother launched a small startup called Zip2. The office wasn't luxurious. In fact, there were times they could barely afford the basics. To save money, Elon often slept in the office and worked almost every waking hour. Most people saw obstacles. Elon saw possibilities hidden behind them. Then came the breakthrough that would change everything. Zip2 was sold for millions of dollars. For most people, earning millions would be the finish line. For Elon Musk, it was only the beginning. Instead of slowing down, he immediately started searching for his next opportunity. The internet was changing the world, and Elon believed money would move online too. That belief led him to create an online financial company called X.com. At the time, trusting money to the internet sounded risky and even foolish. Many critics believed the idea would never work. But Elon had already learned something important. Innovation usually looks crazy before it looks obvious. Eventually, X.com evolved into what the world would later know as PayPal. The company grew rapidly, attracting millions of users and enormous attention. Then came another life-changing moment. PayPal was acquired, and Elon suddenly became incredibly wealthy. But what he did next shocked everyone. Most people would have retired and enjoyed a life of luxury. Elon Musk chose a completely different path. Instead of protecting his fortune, he prepared to risk almost all of it. Friends, investors, and experts warned him not to do it. But Elon wasn't interested in building another internet company. He wanted to solve problems that could change the future of humanity itself. One of those problems was transportation. That vision would eventually become Tesla. Another dream seemed even more impossible making. Space travel, affordable through a company called SpaceX. To many people, the idea sounded absurd. After all, even governments struggled with space programs. How could a private company succeed? But Elon believed that impossible goals are often just problems waiting for solutions. The dream was inspiring. The reality was brutal. Building rockets turned out to be far more difficult than anyone imagined. Years of work, millions of dollars, and endless effort were riding on every launch attempt. Then came the first major failure. Months of work disappeared in a matter of seconds. Then another launch failed, and then another. The media began predicting the end of SpaceX. Investors were losing confidence. Money was disappearing fast. At the very same time, Tesla was facing its own crisis. Elon Musk was running out of money, and the future of both companies hung by a thread. By 2008, Elon Musk was facing the greatest challenge of his entire career. His companies were struggling. Critics were everywhere, and failure seemed closer than success. Many people expected him to give up. After all, almost anyone in his position would have walked away. But Elon made a choice that would define the rest of his life. Instead of retreating, he invested nearly everything he had left. It was a gamble that could either save his companies or destroy them forever. Then came another rocket launch. This time, everything was on the line. If this launch failed, SpaceX might not survive. Then, against all expectations, the rocket reached orbit. For the first time, SpaceX had succeeded. Everything was about to change. That single success changed the future of SpaceX overnight. The company that many had written off was suddenly attracting serious attention. Soon, major contracts began arriving, bringing both credibility and financial stability. For the first time in years, SpaceX finally had room to breathe. At the same time, Tesla was beginning its own remarkable transformation. What many once dismissed as a niche idea was becoming a global movement. Consumers were no longer asking if electric cars could work. They were asking when they could own one. As demand increased, Tesla's growth accelerated faster than almost anyone predicted. Investors who once doubted Elon Musk were now paying very close attention. The man who had nearly lost everything was now becoming one of the wealthiest people on Earth. But Elon Musk wasn't satisfied with success. He was focused on scaling it to something far bigger. Tesla expanded rapidly, turning electric cars from a luxury experiment into a mainstream revolution. Factories grew larger, production lines became faster, and demand kept rising worldwide. At the same time, SpaceX was redefining what private space exploration could achieve. Reusable rockets turned what was once extremely expensive into something more efficient and scalable. This innovation changed the entire space industry forever. Governments and private companies began depending on SpaceX for critical missions. Elon Musk was no longer just an entrepreneur. He had become a global force, shaping multiple industries. As his companies grew, so did his personal net worth. rising faster than almost anyone in modern history. Analysts began asking a question that once sounded impossible. Could Elon Musk become the world's first trillionaire? But behind the headlines and billion-dollar valuations, the pressure on Elon Musk was growing heavier than ever. Every decision he made now affected millions of people, employees, and entire industries. There were moments when failure still felt close, even at the top. But Elon Musk had built something more powerful than wealth: momentum that kept pushing forward. Tesla and SpaceX continued expanding, breaking records and reshaping entire industries. The world began to see him not just as a businessman, but as a builder of the future. Each success added another layer to a growing financial empire, unlike anything seen before. And still, he continued pushing toward ideas even bigger than Earth itself. Experts now believe that if his companies continue their trajectory, Elon Musk could become the first trillionaire in human history. But perhaps the real lesson isn't about becoming a trillionaire. It's about what happens when one person refuses to give up on an impossible vision and turns it into reality.